Okay. I am finally ready to share my story and my experience with Oprah. Let me say this. If you saw my picture, then you could tell how the experience was for me. It was amazing. And you could tell with every tooth that you see, because my smile could not have been any bigger. And when I think back to that, it was just an amazing time. Even yesterday, I was still smiling. So I was like, I can't do this video yet. So I waited until today. If you've been following me, then you know that I love Oprah. I've loved her for decades. And I remember back in 2012, I was taking a professional development course. And in this course, they asked us to list 27 experiences that we wanted to have. And I remember thinking to myself that I'm not just going to write down something that I could achieve easily. I did write down skydiving. And I know that all I needed to do is find a place to go and build up enough courage to do it. But I wanted to do things that I felt were difficult to achieve, that I knew I needed something bigger in order to make it happen. And one of the things that I wrote down was to meet Oprah, but not to just meet her, but to have a conversation with her. Fast forward a few years, she was on tour with her Life You Want tour. It was a 2-day workshop. The closest place was Detroit. So I went to Detroit, stayed overnight, and was just excited to be in the room with a bunch of like-minded people. But I also decided to upgrade to VIP because, one, I had the opportunity to take a picture with Oprah. And two, if I wanted to meet her and have a conversation, I needed to be where she was. So there I go. I'm preparing in my mind because I'm thinking to myself, if I take a picture, that's 5 to 10 seconds that I'll have with her. So what can I say in that little time to let her know what she means to me? I rehearsed. I rehearsed for weeks what I wanted to say because she was very important in my life when I was going through my cancer experience. I was watching her life classes, her Super Soul Sunday. Like it just made a difference in my life. So I wanted to let her know that. So before it was time to take pictures, she addressed the groups of VIPs. And right before she got off stage, she said, "Please don't try to tell me your story. We don't have time to hear your story. I know you all have one, but we have to keep this moving." And I'm a rule follower. So I'm like, you got to be kidding. Like I have rehearsed everything I wanted to say. So when it was my time, I'm walking up, I see Gail, I'm waving at Gail, "Hey, Gail." And then I walk over to Oprah. She looks at me and she said, "Oh my gosh, your hair is beautiful." And then she took her hand and rubbed my hair. Now, that is not something you do to a Black woman, not at all. Because when she did that, we became friends, okay? And it opened up the space where I was able to say everything that I wanted to say to her and more. We laughed, we high-fived, we chanted together, and we hugged like we were best friends. It was a wonderful experience, and I told her, about my cancer experience, of course, and she said to me, "You have a message for the world, and I can't wait until you share it." And at that time, I can't remember if I had started writing my book or not, or if I had thought about it, but I knew that I had a message to share. And so I'm grateful for that because it was just like that thing that said, "Yes, Andrea, do this." And, it was just wonderful. Fast forward to this week when I had the opportunity to be on Zoom with her. I couldn't help but think about that time because I could not have made this happen either. It was very reminiscent of the first time. I never took Oprah off my vision because I see myself sitting down with her in Hawaii, okay, and having a conversation. How is that going to happen? I don't know. I just have to continue doing me and living my life and just allow the universe to work whatever it needs to work out, right? This year, she started a membership and it's called Oprah Daily Insiders. She does a monthly training with experts, and it's different areas that we focus on each month. So the first one was being in integrity with yourself. The second was vulnerability. The third month was connection. And this month was about being fully present with yourself. Now, As an insider, we get surveys, and every time a survey comes across, I fill it out because I know that is how they decide who to bring up for their sessions. So I fill them out and just hope for the best. So when I received an email saying, we would like to interview you, we received your survey and we would like to discuss further. If you're available, let us know. Now, I did not know it was this kind of a process. I thought it was like, okay, I filled out the survey, they like what I said, they pick me and I'm part of the group. But no, you actually have to interview, and they interview for 2 weeks. So I was super excited to have been selected for that. But now I had a whole nother layer, another round to go through. And so when I had the conversation with them and they asked me, did I have any questions? I told them no. I just mentioned to them that this is a God thing. And if God see fit for me to be on there, I will be on there. So I'll see you all in a couple of weeks. That's what I told them. Now, the reason I felt that way is because the guest for this particular month was Mark Nepo. Mark Nepo is someone who I had seen on Oprah Super Sunday class some years ago. I think they said it was 2013. So that's how long ago it was. But he is someone who I admire, and he's a 2-time cancer survivor as well. But I just remember, and I'm looking in my book because I should know where this is in my book, but I'm looking here because I actually quote him in my book. Needless to say, at the end of the show, Oprah asked him, what is the purpose of the human experience? And he said, the purpose of the human experience is for the soul to blossom in human form. Instead of looking for heaven on earth, we are to release heaven by living on earth. Those words, and I'm paraphrasing, but those words stuck with me. And so when I found out he was the guy, a 2-time cancer survivor too, someone who's in my book along with Oprah, I'm like, this is a God thing. This is God orchestrating this. So that's why I could kind of feel confident in telling them I'll see you all in 2 weeks or talk to them in 2 weeks. But I could tell you this, at the end of the week, of the following week, when they were done with interviews, I was like, okay, why haven't I received an email? And then finally it showed up. But it wasn't without me doubting, like, maybe I could have answered this a little bit differently. Maybe I could have said that a little bit different. But it's all good because it worked out. And I ended up one of the 12 selected. We had to do homework. We had the student spotlight, if you saw that on my social media, where we had to answer questions. And it was just a wonderful thing. In regards to Oprah and what I talked about with her, she had asked me about how do I savor the simple pleasures in life? And if you know me, you know I love sunsets. And so I talked about being a sunset chaser. They told us before the show, you have 1 to 2 sentences that you can say. Again, I follow the rules. However, I will say that Oprah talked before about Cleveland. So I needed to let her know that I was in Cleveland. I needed to let her know that I appreciated being on with her, but the blessing was being on with her and Mark Nepo, because I too am a 2-time cancer survivor. And then I could tell her about seeing the magnificence of the colors being painted in the sky right before the sun dips into the water. I knew that. And so that's exactly what I said. And it was just wonderful. The entire experience was wonderful. We had an opportunity to talk to Gail before the show. We talked to Oprah before the show. She actually stayed on afterwards for about 45 minutes where we were able to talk a little bit more. She asked me about what I had written for my student spotlight. And the question was, why did I become an Oprah Daily Insider member? And I answered, my answer was supposed to be 1 to 2 sentences. And so it was long, so I threw some semicolons in there because you can get away with that because it still is 1 sentence. It's just 2 in 1, right? I said something about that I loved Oprah and I admire her and what she represents in my life. And I said some other stuff about that as well. And so she asked me, what did I mean by that? And so I got the opportunity to tell her again, what she means to me in my life. And actually I got emotional. I was about to cry and I was like, I am not about to cry. And so I got myself together, but I really was emotional with that. And I told her how her words stuck with me and she inspired me to continue with my book and that I had completed it. And she told me, she's like, if I told you that you had a book inside of you that you needed to tell, then I meant it. She said, I don't tell everybody that. She's like, because some people just need to be in a magazine. I just was, you know, feeling pretty good with that. And it was just a wonderful experience. So that's why I was just smiling when I went to bed that night, when I woke up the next morning, and all day yesterday, because I listened to what she said to me. I have it on, on tape because I did record it, just so that I could have it. But if you want to see the video, you have to become an Oprah Insider. So $25 a year, and you can go back and watch the previous ones and see the ones that she does for the rest of the year. I think it's a worthwhile investment because if it forces you, if you so desire, to look at yourself and figure out what it is that you need to change about you. I was having this conversation with someone yesterday because I was saying a lot of times people don't want to work on themselves because it's a little painful. It's painful having to look and say, you know what? This is who I am, and this is not really, and I'm not proud of it. And it requires work to be better. I'm all about being the most authentic and powerful version of yourself. But it doesn't come just because you say you want it to. You actually have to do some work to make sure that it happens. So, I just encourage you that if you want to live your best life, if you want to be more authentic and a more powerful version of yourself, join us. Join us. I love the community. We get emails all the time, and I know it's going to even be better. But again, I just wanted to share my experience. I know there are some people who asked, how do you become students? And because they want to, and I wish that for them. I'm telling you what I did, and honestly, it was not even my doing. It was all God with my little assistance of filling out that survey, right? And being prepared with the interview. But I would just say, go for it. I would love to see you. I wish this experience for you if it's something that you desire. So that is it. I'm probably going to be smiling for a while. Every time I see my picture, I just smile that much more. And I appreciate everyone who sent me pictures, okay? Because I didn't even know I had that many friends who were insiders too. So I appreciate everyone that took pictures of me while I was speaking and sending those to me. All right, you all, take care. Bye-bye.